track of, but we're here. It's time for game number 2, spawning in the bottom right position of Belshir Vestige, the red Zerg player, down 0-1 after he secured himself a bit of a lead from Team Evil Geniuses. It is Jaedong. Trying to come back, and his opponent in the northwest, the blue Zerg from Team FOU, it is LeenocK.
And if you are just now tuning in, thank you very much for joining us here live from Jönköping in Sweden. So far we've completed Group A and Group B here. We had Patience, the Azubu Protoss player who qualified online, going through in first place in Group A alongside Naniwa, who was joined by Hyun and Tilo, the first 4 players to make it through. In Group B, we had Startail Life in first place, followed by MMA, then JYP and Pult as the other 4 players. And now we're in Group D. Group C being played simultaneously on stage, and we're trying to find the next 8 players to make it through. In each of the groups, the top 2 make it to the winners bracket in the double elimination playoffs tomorrow, and the bottom 2, the 3rd and 4th place, do make it down to the loser bracket. All to play for here in the early stages of this group.
We've seen some fantastic level of competition so far. It's really been incredible, and to your point, that Group B, Stardust, a DreamHack champion this year, already being knocked out in the group stages, just kind of shows you the level of play we have here, the caliber of StarCraft 2 gamers that have come, and it's been a great tournament so far.
It's been an excellent tournament, and I'm sure it's only going to get better. If we look at the differences now between these 2 players, well, there are none. They've both opened up for the spawn and pull into the hatchery. It's a little bit of a safer build compared to game number 1, where they both opted hatchery first, because if there were any early spawn and pull builds, any early gas builds, they're much more comfortable. They're going to have a queen out earlier. They're going to have their Zergling production earlier. It's just a safer opening from both.
Just don't want to take too many risks, really. It's a much smaller map than Whirlwind. If you go for those early aggressive plays, as you mentioned, it's take you a little bit less time to get to your opponent's base and bring that pressure. And the Overlord's going to confirm the timings of these hatcheries for both players. They're both very well aware of what's happening. And something that we're seeing that's a bit of a change-up, the fast gas for both of these players as compared to Whirlwind. There's a possibility we get much more of a, I guess you could say, older standard of Zerg versus Zerg, where it's just that Zergling Baneling style.
LeenocK has opted to pull his Overlord away instead of going inside the main base, of course worried about the Queen coming out, which means he's got a safe Overlord, but he scouted no information about the gas, compared to Jaedong, who I think actually did go inside the main base there. He didn't quite see the gas. I'm wondering if he did see the drones transferring or not, but from what we can see, no information has been gathered by both the players, but we are going to have Zergling speed research. We're probably going to see Baneling S come down, but are we going to see aggression?
I mean, as far as either of these players go, I really think either one could get aggressive with Zerglings or Banelings if they really wanted to. Jaedong's trying to get a few Zerglings into LeenocK's base to get that read, and he will see the gas. He sees the geyser. He sees that Zergling speed on the way as well. And he also sees that the gas is still being mined, so there's that potential you could get that Baneling nest pretty quickly. And likewise, LeenocK gets the same read on his opponent.
No, they know they're in exactly the same position. They've opened up with the same build. They've got the gas at the same time. They've got Zergling speed at the same time, and they have the exact same amount of gas being brought in. To be honest, if I'm both of these players, I would prefer to take the defensive stance. If I have the same as you do, but I'm being defensive, I have a Queen to help me out. I may have a Spine Crawler to help me out, and also have the exact same amount of attacking units that you have here. Usually in this position, we will see both players play defensive, but in that odd case where somebody thinks the other may cut corners, not get a Spine Crawler, not have the correct amount of gas spent on Banelings, we could see someone be aggressive. And so far, it looks like it could be Jaedong. He's going up to 14 Zerglings here. Well, LeenocK's going to have to play the defensive player. He's taking another gas. He's looking to tech up. He's going to have to morph Banelings defensively. Can Jaedong crack him is the big question now.
That is the question. He has the Baneling nest complete. LeenocK's will follow in turn very soon, but Jaedong already has the Banelings morphing outside of LeenocK's base. He spots this with his Overlord moving towards the 3rd base, so he has the information. He knows that there's some sort of attack coming. There's a potential that this wouldn't do too much, but his Overlord see these Zerglings spreading across the map, and he does try to snipe these Banelings. Very nice catch to pick off one very early on, and the second Baneling doesn't look like it'll be able to get too much done either.
No, it doesn't look like it, but Jaedong's not investing too much. He's actually taking another gas and drone behind this, so minimal investment from Jaedong, and he's actually taking a drone lead. As you can see in the bottom, 39 to 32. Minimal investment by Jaedong, which means he has to now play defensive. A spine crawler's coming down. LeenocK's got 20 Zerglings in. These Links, are they even going to get caught here? Oh, they do escape there. But now Jaedong is the one on the defensive stance because he has the higher drone count and LeenocK has the higher unit count.
Yeah, LeenocK, it looks to be just pressing his advantage. Jaedong starting his lair as more and more Zerglings continue to stream across the map. This is a bit of a dangerous situation. That Spine Crawler, as you mentioned, is about 10 seconds away. LeenocK morphing more Banelings. He's bringing out 10 of them outside of Jaedong's base. He's just going to try to push him right through now.
Jaedong must survive this. He's trying to go up to lay. He's adding on so many Spine Crawlers. Can he do it? Otherwise, LeenocK could take a very swift 2-0 here. So far, so good. Is it going to be the Stockholm champion that can take the first series of the day in Group D?
Takes out the first Spine Crawler. He has more and more Banelings coming through, trying to get a decent trade. Picks off a few more of the Zerglings. There's still a lot here for both players, all coming down to which one of them can get the better spot. The Banelings for LeenocK, and Jaedong's Mineral Line gets a good split to dodge them, not losing too much just yet, and it looks like Jaedong, for the most part, has staved this attack off. The Banelings do manage to grab a couple of drones on the tail end, though.
Excellent defense there from EG's Jaedong. But one thing to note is that there's still a lot of units out for both players, but Jaedong's lair has completed, which means he can throw down the Spire now. His opponent has only just started his lair. He's way, way behind and is also now in the defensive stance. A successful defense from Jaedong, and well, he's in a lead at the moment.
A couple Banelings try to get some shots off. Nothing big for LeenocK just yet. As you said, he's just kind of jockeying for this position. Does take out another Baneling without too much trouble. Well, Jaedong takes it. That's a pretty nice hit for LeenocK there to clean up a large chunk of this, and I think that's going to signal basically the end of Jaedong's aggression. Now, as you stated, that Spire's on the way. He's droning quite heavily, and I guess it comes down to a game of who can get that third base.
It signals the end of the aggression period, but let's compare each other. Jaedong has a Spire halfway done, the layer's not finished yet, and Jaedong's been mining gas on his natural for a lot longer than LeenocK. So once all the aggression has been done and dealt with, Jaedong has quite a big lead, I'd say. He's able to go move out and take his third base. He may not be able to keep it alive. And as you described, we now enter the stage of the game where both players will try to attack and defend their respective third bases.
And LeenocK has his on the way already. Zerglings here to try to kill this drone off of Jaedong. Not able to start that third hatchery just yet. Jaedong also bringing the creep spread of these overlords, try to get his queens out to the third faster potentially. As Jaedong himself tries to get on top of this third base, sees that it's already on the way for LeenocK. The Spire's about to finish for Jaedong. He's got about almost 600 gas banked up. This Baneling with these Zerglings going to try to defend this hatchery as much as possible. Does get a solid hit, and LeenocK, his third base is intact for now.
It's intact, and Jaedong's has not been built yet. Third base is quite important. Those 5th and 6th gases increase the meter count, of course, the faster you get them. So they are important in this game, but it is Jaedong first out the gate with 4 Mutalisks, 5 Mutalisks, and the Carapace upgrade already being researched. A natural timing will happen in this game, while Jaedong will have a upgrade higher than his opponent, but still, the contest for the third bases continues.
I mean, LeenocK has a lot of Zerglings with some Banelings to defend back home. Jaedong start taking a lot of damage. The Banelings, though, if they connect properly, could take out a lot of these forces of cancel, however.
So we're
Hatchery
neutralized.
gets picked off. Yeah.
They both picked off their third bases. They're still on 2-2. Jaedong still leads in that regard. He's got more Mutalisks. They're out faster.
Yeah, and I mean, these Mutalisks are starting to get onto the field. He can start to poke away at these overlords on the map. Can also use them, of course, to defend against these Zergling attacks. A little bit difficult, but should be able to buy himself that time he needs as he does, well, start cleaning them up. He's starting the third hatchery. He's just going to try to kill it under the Mutas. Does force another cancel. LeenocK's third is up again.
He doesn't get the drone.
Barely says 1 hit point that drone makes it out with.
So far, I'd still edge the lead a little bit in favor of Jaedong, but it is a very close game. A very high-skilled, very good game from both sides so far. But with Jaedong having the Mutalisks out a little bit earlier, he was killing the overlords faster. But now it looks like the stage of denying each other's third base is almost been and gone. You know, the Mutalisk can out, and now we go into the Mutalisk stage. Mutalisk versus Mutalisk, and the player that takes map control is going to be the player that dictates the game. For example, Jaedong can send Mutalisk to the third, but if his opponent doesn't see them, what happens if links go to the main? We're going to see deviation with units now in lots of different angles.
And you know, something very important that you mentioned earlier was that Jaedong was mining that gas a little bit sooner. Getting in now on top of the third base. He's got the Mutalisk count lead. It's going to be difficult for LeenocK to engage against this. He doesn't even need to use his Mutalisks. He can just pick the hatchery off. Not even a cancel for LeenocK. And Jaedong, now he has to just go back and defend his own respective third base as LeenocK has his own Zerglings going headed there.
Can he defend it, though? If not, it goes back to a 2-base versus 2-base, and I think he can't. It's close. It's going to be close.
And he's getting in on top of them. Of course, no upgrades on these Zerglings. The Mutas are going to try to lend their strength, but forces another cancel. The drone not able to make it out this time around, and Jaedong has to go from building these gas geysers to restarting that third once again.
Yeah, okay. So both players keeping on denying each other's third, but at the end of the day, what's the Mulus count between the two players now? 16 to 13, so it's just, 16 to 13, so 300 gas difference, 3 Mutalisk difference. That's all that's in it at this moment. But Jaedong has an attack planned on the right-hand side. I guess apart from the 300 gas difference, he has map control. He's actually going to bring his opponent towards his main, and naturally he's going to send Lings to the third. A beautiful two-way attack has been set up here from Jaedong. Will it be successful? Can he distract his opponent where he can get those Lings to the third? If he can, he might get a cancel.
It's going to be difficult to press in, at least this many Mutalisks and Queens. But another thing to point out, as these Zerglings do come through, he's got a Baneling and some Lings of his own to try to defend against this. The Mutalisks are in position as well. Jaedong's just going to try to take this fight. He needs to be super careful with these Queens, but I just want to point out that Jaedong actually, you said map control. He still has Overlords on the map. LeenocK, every speck of vision he had on this map has been erased because Jaedong got his Mutalisks out faster than his opponent.
Yeah, Jaedong needs to capitalize on that. That's a big advantage he has, now thinking about it a little bit more. He's able to move around the map with his opponent not knowing exactly where he is at any point. Look at this. LeenocK has no idea. And Jaedong's on the right-hand side. He could get to that third. Are the Queens marching across, by the way? Yes. So with the Queens marching across, there will be a big attack coming out from LeenocK. And a good defense here.
And Jaedong trying to press that third base, but yeah, this is
a big attack coming out.
The Queen March of Death. But these Zerglings for Jaedong, they should be able to get on top of this third base. There's not too much left here for LeenocK, and the Mutas themselves can deny this, but I think he's starting to anticipate that this aggression is coming. There's no Spore Crawler by Jaedong's own third base. Immediately takes out the drones, mining that gas, preventing him from getting that lead.
The Queens, I think he could get to the Queens. I don't think he saw them there. Ooh, I think he could have killed them all there.
It's a very, very tense situation with these Queens. It's like the slowest push ever. But he does get the surround on the third hatchery, picks off LeenocK's third, so this is it. He's all in with Queen Mutalisk.
Yeah, so the difference, what's the Mutalisk difference between the two right now? It must be so close, 27 to 21. Is 6 Mutalisk a difference big enough where the Queens become invalid? That's the big question here, because there's going to be transfuses, they'll deal damage, they'll soak damage. That's the big question for this.
I mean, the important thing to consider is that even though Jaedong's going to be the one defending against this, he doesn't have that many Queens of his own, but if he can attack away from LeenocK's Queens, that could help. Still running Zerglings towards the third, trying to pressure the natural. No luck there, but this is it. This incredibly slow-moving tram has found its way here.
1-1 versus just 0-1 upgrades as well. Jaedong has an upgrade advantage. Are the Queens going to make the difference to give LeenocK a 2-0?
So many of these Queens have high levels of energy. Trying to focus them down. Does grab one. This is where the Zerglings become so crucial. And Jaedong taking this fight, but the transfuses are already starting to drop. We see the Mutalisk count still favoring the EG player. And he's starting to pick apart this LeenocK force. There's no Zerglings to protect these Queens. And he's just going to complete the